What's up, everybody? CM Punk is back in the WWE. What do you think about it? Do you see it? We get into it. We dig deep in this episode of Fall Damage Central podcast. But first, channel's been going crazy the past 4 weeks or so. A lot of new subscribers, I think because of this thing called Pokemans right over here over my shoulder. I'd like to welcome everybody. Thanks for joining the channel. Thanks for all the likes, the subscribes, all that stuff. A lot more coming. But for right now, it's Friday. New episode of Fall Damage Central with my boy Old School Legend. We talk all about WWE and the return of CM Punk, Randy Orton, all that stuff. So enjoy the episode, and we'll see you on the next one. Welcome back to the Fall Damage Central podcast. It is December 1st, 2023. Week after Thanksgiving. We took last week off in celebration of the holiday, and we're back. What's up, Old School?
Yo, what's going on, man? How's your Thanksgiving?
It was good, man. You know, Thursday we went out to my wife's aunt's house and, you know, hung out with a bunch of family over there and ate like crazy. And then Saturday we came back Thursday, but Saturday we were home and we had Thanksgiving 2.0, and we just made a whole bunch of food again at my house and just sat here and ate it.
Yeah.
So, Thanksgiving is one of our favorite holidays over here. What about you?
So, we kept it low key this year. The wife actually had to work on Friday. Normally, we share the Thursday and Friday, or the Friday after Thanksgiving together, and we do stuff. But I'm not the biggest fan of turkey. I'm kind of turkeyed out, so I kind of went outside the box this year for Thanksgiving, and I just got us a couple of pretty fat ribeye steaks. Yeah, so I cooked those up with a baked potato, and that was, for us, that was our Thanksgiving meal. And then Saturday, we went over to her mother's house, like out in like further western Pennsylvania. They're about 2 hours from us in Philly. We're in Philly. They're about 2 hours from us. And her mom cooked like this freaking feast of, I mean, there was a lot of carbs, man. A lot of sweets. Her mom likes to bake. So, I mean, there was like this apple bread, cornbread, these like little like pecan tart desserts, just like dips, vegetables, like crudité, that kind of stuff. Casseroles out the is-ass. She made some salmon. Man, yeah, just a ton of stuff, dude. But
so did they postpone their Thanksgiving for you guys on Saturday?
Yeah.
Oh, that's sweet. That's cool.
Yeah. So I think they might have done something else with maybe like one of her uncles or something. But yeah, as far as I know, like that Thanksgiving was like exclusively saved for Saturday when we got there.
That's awesome.
It was nice, man. Like I was stuffed. I got stuffed twice. So like the first round, it was just like appetizers and sweets, and I was just like, oh man, done. And then the main courses came out, like salmon and corn casserole, and man, and that
put you into a coma.
Yeah. And then she made some coffee, and they went to Italy back in September. So they have some coffee they brought back from Italy, which is like it's an espresso coffee, and it's super duper potent. And she brewed some of that up. Yeah, had some of that with some dessert, man. I was ready to run through a wall. But yeah, outside of that, man, it was good, man. Just ate a whole lot.
You said you're done with turkey. How do you feel about ham? Like for us, sometimes we'll alternate. One year we'll do ham, one year we'll do turkey, or sometimes we'll do like one of them on Thanksgiving and then the other on Christmas.
Yeah, no, ham, yes, ma'am. No, so my problem with the turkey is I like turkey like the day of, right? So you get you a drumstick, you get you like a turkey thigh, you get like that nice crisp skin on there.
Mm-hmm.
Day of turkey, like an hour out of the oven. That shit is delicious.
Yep.
Um, Turkey breast, like I do like turkey breast like the next day, but only like in a sandwich or some other way. I can't, for some reason I don't like reheated turkey.
Mm.
So when you have like that leftover plate on Friday after Thanksgiving, I the turkey just pretty much for me it just goes to waste because I just don't like the reheated turkey for whatever reason. But with
Yeah.
the ham, dude, I could like I don't even reheat the ham. I just I'll grab the ham, I'll eat it cold, man, or
Throw it
if I
between
do
two
heat it up,
slices of bread. Mm.
yeah, man. Yep.
So,
So yeah, that's like my story with the turkey.
so did this year for Black Friday it sucked. We talked about this before, but you didn't. Uh, did you grab anything off any deals anybody had?
So I ended up snagging Super Mario RPG on the Switch.
Oh,
I
have you
got that
played it?
through not yet. I snagged it through QVC, and it wasn't necessarily a Black Friday deal, but they had this gimmick going on where for new accounts they're giving like $25 off of your first order. So they're selling like new video games. They have like Super Mario Wonder, Diablo 4, Modern Warfare 3, Spider Man 2, pretty much all the new stuff that's out. And I saw Super Mario RPG on there, and I was like, oh, let me see if this is going to apply. Add it to my cart, did the promo code for it, and sure enough, so I got the copy of of Super Mario RPG. I got it for I think it was like $42 and change after tax.
Damn, that's not bad then. That's a
Yeah.
$60 game, fresh off the shelf.
Yep, yep, factory sealed, brand new,
Damn.
everything. I did pick up a DualShock 5 or a DualSense or the DualSense or whatever the PS5 controller is. I got that Magma Red. So the controllers were all on sale for $50. And on PlayStation Direct, I ended up getting a copy of Uncharted, the Legacy Collection for the PS5 and Death Stranding Director's Cut on the PS5 because those were $20 a pop.
Off PS Direct, you said.
Yeah.
Man, so I feel like 30 is the new 20 when it comes to these Black Friday deals and discounted games and stuff. Um, you said you picked up those two games off for $20, but like what was it? I think God of War Ragnarok was at $35. It wasn't even $30. And that's a game that's been out for like a year and a half. So do you agree with me? Like, do you think with the new price increase to $70 games that the cheapest we'll ever really see for the most part, I mean, besides like clearance and stuff, is probably like $30 to $35?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think with like the relatively newer stuff, I think on Black Friday you're going to see like $30 to $35 price points. I'd say between $30 and $40, but I would imagine the longer you wait, that price is going to drop down a little bit further.
I feel like God of War came out before last Christmas, didn't it? It's been out like a year and
I,
a half now, I think.
yeah, I think man, I feel like it came out some like 2 Novembers ago.
Yeah. Okay.
So
So
not no, it like I think it was last November it came out. Let me pull it up real quick.
damn. So that'd be a year then.
Let's see. November 9th, 2022.
Damn. Okay. So it was just a year ago.
Yep.
It feels like it
But
was so
still,
much longer.
I think I think that could have been cheaper, honestly. I mean, it's a great game. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think we could have seen that at that $20 price point, at least 25.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. It just sucks. Like I feel like if this was like 5 years ago, it'd be $20 all day at this time.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed because there was a few titles I was looking for. Specifically, I wanted that Resident Evil 4 remake. I thought for sure that was going to be at a $20 price point. It was not.
It's
So
30, right? Or 35?
I saw one spot that had it for 35 and another for 30.
Mm.
But it's I didn't want to pay that much for it. I'm sure it's a great game. and I'm sure the price reflects the fact that it's in the category for Game of the Year. Um, and then the other one is Wo Long. That one came out. I think that one came out the beginning of last year. So that's another one I was looking for that $20 price point.
That's
And
the one with
then,
the Monkey King or whatever, ain't it?
yep,
Okay.
yep. And then the other one was the Dead Space remake. I was hoping for a $20 price point on that one also, but we did not get it.
Damn. Yeah, I got a few things. Just a couple Christmas gifts for the kid that went on sale that I've been watching for a little while. Um, and then, but for me, all I got 2 packs of these little top loaders. Since I'm a hardcore Pokemon collector now, I gotta sleeve up all the expensive or potentially expensive cards and stuff. So I got like 200 of those for like $12 a piece, and then I got 2 of these bad boys. Pokemon for days, son. And
Nice.
those are like $10 off at Walmart, but so I got 2 of them. Don't know if I'm gonna open them on the channel yet or not. Might just sit on them for a little bit, see what happens. I don't know. But anyway, something big happened this weekend, old school. Did you watch Survivor Series?
Of course.
Hell yeah. I
But
know
of
you did.
course.
I just asked for the people. I knew you were. We were texting the whole time through it. But CM Punk made his return to WWE after 10 long years of him just completely trashing the company every time he got the chance. What are you
Yeah,
thinking about that?
that shit was nuts, man. I I wasn't sure. Like I kept seeing rumors that he was going to come back, and then I see a lot of the wrestling journalists saying no, they didn't want him back. They didn't want him back, and I firmly believe that they didn't want him back, but I think they saw how much money they could probably do with having him back,
Yeah.
so they had that conversation after Survivor Series. They had like the post conference, and Triple H was saying that everything came together probably like within like the last week.
Yeah.
There were so many like rumors that he was going to be there, that he wasn't going to be there, and as far as like the truth goes, he wasn't going to be there. They had no plans to bring him back, and I don't know if it was Triple H that reached out or CM Punk reached out to them, but they sat down, they talked it out, they hashed it out, and they brought him back. But that was probably, to my recollection, the biggest surprise in probably maybe like the past like 20 years or so,
Yeah.
because it was nuts, man. So they got, they were going off air, they had the little copyright logo, you know getting ready to, go off the air. Everybody thought the event was over, and then all of a sudden his music pops, and there he
Dude,
is.
oh, the crowd went nuts, man. There was videos online of like grown men crying in the crowd. Now, I damn sure wasn't crying, but
Yeah, that's a
it
bit
was
much.
yeah, it was much. It's too much, but it was epic as hell. Um yeah, I was sitting here. I was watching it in my browser on my computer. I had my mouse clicker over on the little X to close out my browser, and I was like done. I was like, all right, I guess he's not showing up. And right like a split second before I hit that, because I seen that little copyright thing come on down in the corner, indicating that it's going off the air. And like a split second before I hit it, I heard the I was like, what? And then I seen the CM Punk flash across the screen, like from all the clips that are out on Twitter and everything now. And I was like, no shit. I was like, oh my god, this is incredible. And then after the cameras went off, videos started coming out on Twitter of Seth Rollins being pretty pissed off like flipping him the bird and everything, saying "fuck you," da, da, da. And Michael Cole and referee. Well, Michael Cole was holding them back. The referee, which kind of makes me kind of suspicious. Like, oh, what's this all about? The referee was just kind of like doing his normal like working gimmick thing, where he's kind of telling them to stop, but he won't really like hold them back.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't tell yet whether he's legitimately pissed off, because I know he's talked trash about him in the past. But I can't tell really if it's a work or he's for real pissed off. What do you think?
No, I think it's fake, man. I think it's manufactured animosity. I don't. I would. I think they probably don't like each other in real life, or maybe I don't want to say they don't like each other in real life. I think they're just like co-workers, and that's that. They're
Yeah.
acquaintances, they're co-workers, and it doesn't go any further than that. But I think the match to make, I think what makes the most sense is the two of them. I think that'll bring the most business. So think about it.
Mm.
CM Punk goes into the Royal Rumble, he wins. Hey Seth Rollins, I'm gonna challenge you at WrestleMania for that title you got. Now
Mm.
you got the main event of night one, WrestleMania, CM Punk versus Seth Rollins for that World Heavyweight title.
Oof.
That's gonna be huge, man.
Yeah. I agree that's huge. But Punk versus do you think Punk versus Roman will be huger, bigger?
No,
No, you don't think so?
no, not at all. I think the biggest thing for Roman right now is Cody Rhodes, because that's been simmering for a while.
Yeah, but
That
you
you
got the
know,
element. See, I was asking you if you listened to Busted Open today, because they almost the whole episode was all about Punk today. Um, but they brought up a good point. Uh, Roman is currently managed by Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman used to manage CM Punk. If somehow they can get um, Brock Lesnar involved, the image of the three of them standing in the ring with Paul Heyman there as well would be pretty crazy if they could like build that story right.
yeah, I agree. I think that would be a really good story. I just don't think it would be a good story for WrestleMania.
Mm,
So in my opinion, I think if they did something like that for WrestleMania, I think that the fans are going to become jaded. I think they're going to turn on the company, because we're like we all want to see Cody, man. We want to see Cody get
yeah,
that comeuppance, man. He's been grinding, and to just kind of forget about all that for this guy who left,
yeah, he just
essentially,
came back. Yeah,
like he like, and the thing is, like, I don't really know like what it was, if he got fired or he like quit or like what it was. I know he had gotten some termination papers sent to WWE like on his wedding day or something.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I think that happened because he had left. I think like he up and quit. But I can't I can't imagine that the diehard WWE fan base is going to be okay with them having CM Punk take Cody Rhodes' spot after Cody Rhodes came back from AEW. And granted, when he was gone on the independents and in AEW, he took a couple of shots. We all know the sledgehammer to the throne thing was
Yeah, but
kind of
nothing
a,
like CM Punk.
yeah. I'm not the biggest CM Punk fan. I could take him or I could leave him. I'm glad that he's back in WWE though, because I want to see him retire on a high note. I think he's been around long enough to where I feel he deserves to have that swan song and be able to walk away from wrestling on his terms and not have like that bitter negativity or whatever. He could leave with a clear conscience in pro wrestling. So I am glad to see him back there. I kind of feel like he was going to make his way back to WWE eventually.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Yeah,
that
once
was
once I heard a few months ago, like 6, 8 months ago, however long it was, that he was backstage at a Raw or SmackDown or something, talking to other talent and stuff, and then they told him to leave because they didn't want to get in trouble for like contract infringement or something.
Mhm.
I was like, oh, okay, he's not really that pissed off at him anymore after the shit show that was AEW for him.
Yeah. So I think, to me, I think AEW was that catalyst for him to get back to WWE. And this is all speculation. This isn't, I don't know anything else that anybody else knows. I just kind of feel like he went to AEW and was like, "Hey, let me try to rebuild my image.
Mm-hmm.
That way, once it's time for me to get back, they're going to be like, "Hey, this guy's easy to work with now. Let's go ahead and rehire him." But everything happened the way it did. But fortunately, this was one of those things where they said, "Hey, man, let's go ahead. Let's let it be water under the bridge and move forward." So, I'm I'm excited to see what happens. Like I said, I'm not the biggest CM Punk fan. I don't want to see him fail. If he succeeds, cool. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely an interesting time now in WWE.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal time in WWE. There's so many people that are like so hardcore over, it's not even funny. Um, but you mentioned have Punk win the Rumble and then call out Seth. If that happens, how does Cody get back to Roman? Since Roman is on SmackDown, Cody's on Raw.
So I think there's two different scenarios that could play out, right? So we've got CM Punk who wins the Royal Rumble and then goes on, calls out Seth Rollins, and then Cody Rhodes can win the Elimination Chamber, and then he has his shot at Roman Reigns there. Or they can do something where both they have CM Punk is the last two people in the Royal Rumble are CM Punk, Cody Rhodes. They both go over at the same time. Both their feet hit the floor at the same time, and then, hey, we have two winners of the Royal Rumble. This is kind of crazy, but here we're gonna go. And Cody, hey man, I want to go for Roman, and CM Punk is like, hey, I'm gonna go for Seth.
I don't think WWE could do that. I don't think the fans would like that.
I mean, personally, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see it like that. I want to see what I would like to see, honestly, is have Cody win the Royal Rumble, enter at like 1,
Mm-hmm.
run the gauntlet, win the Royal Rumble,
Yes.
and then like, hey, Roman, coming after you, bro. What's up? All right, cool. That's set up, and then at Elimination Chamber, CM Punk could win that one, and then go after Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight title.
So, is the Elimination Chamber match the same deal as Royal Rumble? Whoever wins can pick whoever they go against, whatever title they go
So
for?
it varies sometimes. So there was one year that Bray Wyatt won, and he like the I think one of the championships was up for grabs in the Elimination Chamber, like right before WrestleMania, and Bray Wyatt won it. He won the belt, and then turned around the next month and lost it to Randy Orton at WrestleMania.
Huh.
So typically, there's some sort of championship implication with the Elimination Chamber. So usually, like the Royal Rumble winner, they pick their champion, right? Hey, I
Mm-hmm.
want to I want to face a champion on Raw. So then that leaves SmackDown with an empty slot, or vice versa. So that's typically what the Elimination Chamber is there, is to fill that void.
Um. So, okay, let's say one of them wins the Rumble, one of them wins Elimination Chamber. I could see that happening. I could see what I think would be probably the best. Cody enters at number 1, runs the gauntlet. It's down to him and Punk, the last two in the Rumble. And then Punk eliminates Cody, and everybody's like, what? That would freak everybody out. And then Cody obviously wins Elimination Chamber. He goes to face Roman there. Punk faces Seth. But if Punk faces Seth, do you think WWE puts a belt on Punk being fresh back with the company? When last year Cody returned, or he didn't return last year. I think he's been back a little longer than that. But his first title match with Roman, he lost. And he was newer to the company still, like fresh. He was fresher back then, and they didn't want to put a belt on him. And he was like super over at the time too, especially after that Hell in a Cell match with Seth Rollins. Do you think WWE puts a belt on Punk now, being only back in the company at the time of WrestleMania? Will probably be 6 months, 5-6 months, something like that.
I'm going to say no. And the only reason I'm going to say no is because I feel like Seth Rollins has lost a lot more than he's won. So when Cody Rhodes came back, his first match was against Seth Rollins. Cody beat him. They had a rematch. Cody beat him again. Then they did the Hell in the Cell, or yeah, it was the Hell in the Cell, the cage match where he had his pec torn. But Cody won that one as well. So he's got 3 up on Seth Rollins, and this is, he he's losing to a guy who just came back, fresh to the company. So now they're going to have a couple years later another guy who was gone for so long, fresh back to the company. They're going to have him lose to CM Punk. I just don't know, and I think right now I don't know if CM Punk really needs a championship belt.
Yeah,
I think he could just kind of do his own thing. What I'd really like to see from CM Punk is, let him get the match and stuff. Let him put on a banger of a match.
main event
But
night 1, WrestleMania.
Have him lose, but that doesn't mean anything. I think there's too many other people who could be a better candidate to have that belt than CM Punk. So I would like to see CM Punk be with in the WWE for a while before he really gets a championship. Let him go down to NXT for a couple times, because they're always bringing in main stars. Have him go down to NXT, maybe help out those guys a little bit there for a little bit. Just to try to build up some of that credibility that, hey, listen, I'm not a piece of shit that everybody thinks I am. I'm here for real. Because on Monday, anybody who saw Monday Night Raw, we waited essentially 2 hours and 50 minutes to get him to get on the microphone. And in my opinion, he cut this promo that just sounded so fucking phony.
Safe.
It just sounded so fake to me. Hey, I'm home, guys, blah, 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 blah. And it's just I get it to a point, but it's I don't know, man. That shit was just dripping with fucking fakeness to me. But I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm not backstage. I'm not in WWE, so I don't know what is true. I don't know what's false. So it also got me thinking that maybe he's trying to play this angle where, hey guys, I'm glad to be here, blah, 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 blah. But as we saw at the end of that promo, he looked right into the camera and said, I'm here to make money, not make friends.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, oh man, that's a shot at Tony Khan and AEW. And I didn't take it like that at all. I thought he had on this mask when he was like, hey, I missed you guys, I'm home, blah, 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 blah. And then as soon as he stared down that camera, he took that mask off and pretty much just said, I'm here to get paid, bro. I don't give a fuck about you people. I'm just trying to make some money. And I wonder if they're going to do some type of angle where it's like that, where he comes back and everyone's like, oh my God, we're so glad to see you. And Seth Rollins is like, man, fuck this guy. He's a piece of shit. And everyone's like, no, everybody starts turning on Seth. And then it turns out that Seth Rollins is right the whole time. And CM Punk he doesn't give a shit about anybody else. He's just there to get paid. Dude. And then it turns out,
that's great. I like that.
So that's kind of what my takeaway was. I know people were up in arms because they thought that he was going to come out with a microphone and, hey man, you know what, Tony Khan, fuck you, fuck the Young Bucks, and there's no need for that because the thing is, it's number one, that was a low point in his career, probably the lowest point I would say in his career. But number two is WWE really does not give a fuck about AEW.
Yeah,
they sat there and they just they didn't say a fucking thing. He didn't mention anything. It means nothing. So I would imagine, I guess, we're recording this on Wednesday. So Dynamite is actually on right now. I'm not watching it, but I would almost guarantee that somebody is gonna take some sort of dig at CM Punk or WWE in some way a little bit. But that just shows you, like, you've got one company who is like a Titan juggernaut, and like another little company that's trying to poke them in the ankles with a stick.
Yeah,
They're not
yeah,
even on that level, you know.
yep,
And I don't hate AEW. I'm not one of those. Oh man, I just I think that their programming just sucks. I just
yeah.
don't think it's good. I do like some of the wrestlers in there. Like, I'm a big Swerve fan. I like
Yep.
Chris Statlander.
I love
Um,
MJF.
MJF, yeah, like Hobbs, big
Yeah,
Hobbs fan. Ricky Starks. Like, there's a lot of guys that I do like, but I don't like them enough to subject myself to watch the show. I
yeah. The
don't like
the booking is just not good.
I could follow it on Twitter, and I'm completely content doing that. Um, a lot of people right now, they're big on Tony Storm. They love like that timeless Tony Storm character.
Yeah.
I don't. I haven't watched it since she's been timeless Tony Storm. I've seen clips and I've seen like videos and all this other stuff on social media, Twitter, YouTube, and I just don't get the context of it. But I don't like, to me that's not cool. I'm not like, oh man, this is great. I think it's dumb, actually.
Yeah.
Um, I could be completely wrong about that. It could be like the best thing ever, and maybe I just need to watch the programming to get some context behind it. But I don't know. It's just weird because to me, I had to have missed something, because at one point she was normal. She was like a
Hmm.
normal ass chick with it was like the, what is it, like the rejects, or I don't know, the outsiders or some shit,
The Outcasts. Yeah.
the outcasts. So they were spray painting people, and then all of a sudden, like the next thing I see, she's like this like wannabe like
Movie star.
actress,
Yeah.
yeah, from like back in the 20s, and I'm like, what? So I know I had to have missed something to where that transition happened, but to me, the way I'm grabbing it is, hey, one week she was like this, and then all of a sudden she came in the next week and was like that. But
Yeah. Yeah. I trash AEW like when we talk about it, and I do not like it, but I don't wish for them to fail. I want them to do good. I want them to do better. I want Tony Khan for the light bulb to go off and maybe realize he's not good at booking, and bring in somebody else, or give it to Brian Danielson or something that knows how to book this stuff. Because I feel like every time you turn around, every time you see a clip or whatever online, there's a new faction. There's like I told you this week, Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega are together now in a tag team.
mhm.
That just it's like a few weeks ago I saw another clip. Kenny Omega was with I guess it was probably the Young Bucks or something. I guess the Young Bucks have been out for a while. Now he teamed up with Chris Jericho, and everything just switches so fast. Like, they don't spend the time telling stories like I feel the WWE does. There's no they say they're in it for the long form storytelling or whatever, but every 2 weeks I feel like it's a new story. And a match, they don't build up to matches. It's one week, oh, you pissed me off. The next week we're wrestling. And I it just sucks. I can't they don't build anything up. I don't like it at all.
Yeah, and they do have a couple of stories, and it's always, like, I know like the AEW defenders, and again, like, I'm not, if somebody's listening and they're a diehard AEW fan, cool. You know what I mean? I'm glad that you find enjoyment in it. This is just my opinion, but I feel like they'll have one storyline, and people are quick to be like, "Oh, you see, they got a story." Da, da,
Yeah.
da, 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 da. And that's not what we're saying. We're not saying, "Hey, give us like one story here and there, sprinkle in there." I want to see long term shit that you could sink your teeth into. Like, I want to get like emotionally invested into something, to
Uh-huh.
where it's like, man, like, what's gonna happen here? Apparently, that's that a lot of people feel that way about like the whole Adam Cole MJF thing or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. Like I've seen a lot of like their the vignettes and like the clips of like the bros and stuff that they've been doing, like hanging out like on the boat and all this other stuff. And I don't know, man. Like to me, it just seems like real hokey. Like it's just
Yeah.
like I don't know. Like I don't this whole MJF thing, how he's like the good guy, but he's really a bad guy. To me, that's like really fucking hokey too. Like I just I don't know. I don't know. There's just so much about AEW that I'm like, man, this could be so much better, and it
Yeah.
just isn't. But uh, QT Marshall, or just QT Marshall, he actually just resigned from AEW. And if people are not familiar, they just think he's like an on-screen character. Nah, he was very prominent in helping train people, backstage producer. He was very hands-on in an executive role with AEW, and he was there since day one, and now he is gone. And according to him, he left because he doesn't like the direction the company is going in. And apparently, according to him, Tony Khan wants to make it more of a work rate wrestling company rather than storytelling. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. I know, like, I have friends who are huge Japanese wrestling fans, and they love the flippy, floppy, high spot stuff, and
Yeah.
they love the hell out of that, and that's cool. Like that's their flavor that they like.
Yeah.
And for me, I just can't get down with that. But if that's what AEW is going to become, I think that's great, because then it's going to establish itself as its own identity.
Yeah.
And that's really what I want, what I always wanted AEW to be. I wanted it to be its own thing. I felt when Cody Rhodes was there, and during the pandemic, and again, this is just my opinion, I felt that AEW had some of its best programming, and that actually made me a big AEW fan,
Mm-hmm.
because it was good. It felt very organic, and
That
now everything
first
just feels. Oh, go
that
ahead.
that that first Cody and Dustin Rhodes match on that pay-per-view,
Yeah,
whew,
that was
that was a banger.
that was good shit, man. And it felt very organic. It felt good. And now everything just feels very forced and like manufactured, and like, hey, we need to do this because we need to compete with the big guys, and big guy being WWE. And I don't like that approach. I just want them to be their own identity, focus on themselves, and let it be. So hopefully, if they go that route of becoming just like a work rate company, like New Japan Pro Wrestling or something, that's gonna seriously like take them out of. In my opinion, I think it's going to take them out of like any sort of competition, argument, conversation with WWE, because that's going to be its own thing. So we'll see what happens, man.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad Punk didn't go out there and trash him, because I feel like it'll just mean so much more for him to go over there and just knock everybody dead. Like, just do lights out stuff that everybody loves and draw a crap ton of money for WWE. And I feel like that'll be the biggest spit in the face to AEW Tony Khan that there is. Um, which, I mean, I wouldn't be against. I don't know. I don't want to piss people off by saying AEW sucks, but I think it sucks. I don't like it. It's my opinion. I'm allowed to have it. But anyway, getting back to WWE, what's going on with Drew McIntyre, man? What do you think? The like, his contract's coming up, so I don't know if he's like resigned already, like secretly resigned or whatever, and it just hasn't made the dirt sheets yet. Um, but like, he was a big babyface going into War Games, but then he's decided with the Judgment Day to get his hands on Jey Uso and all that, and then this week on Raw he just jumped Seth Rollins because he's pissed off Seth Rollins is giving Jey Uso a shot at the title next week on Raw. What do you think his story is here? Where do you think it ends?
I love the whole thing they're doing with Drew McIntyre right now,
Mm-hmm.
because he's got a gripe. He has a legitimate gripe.
Yep.
So people are now booing him and all this stuff, but he's like, so his whole thing was, during the pandemic, he was a champion. He was the one that had the company on his shoulders, and I think he did a really good job. but he never got, like, once he lost his title, to me, he never really got a fair shake to hold it once the crowds and everybody started coming back. So he kind of fizzled out a little bit, started coming back, started feuding with the Bloodline. And, if anybody is familiar with the Bloodline, they interfere in all of Roman Reigns' matches and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Jey Uso cost him at Clash at the Castle. He had his big title shot against Roman Reigns.
So
Jey Uso cost him that match.
I'm in a group chat with a couple of my buddies back in Florida, and one guy that's in there that I don't really know. He's friends of my other buddies. He makes it a point every week. Drew McIntyre complains about the Bloodline. Jey Uso was never at Clash of the Castle that year. It was Solo Sikoa that screwed him, not Jey Uso. But I can see Bloodline affiliation. He's pissed off.
So, and I don't necessarily know if it's specifically Clash at the Castle that he's angry about. I think he's probably just pissed off at every chance he's gotten. One of them has fucked him over.
Yeah.
So now they're on, he's on Raw, the Bloodline is on SmackDown, and all of a sudden, here comes Jey Uso. Cody Rhodes is like, hey man, let's give you another shot. And, I got the whole thing with Kevin Owens, it took him a little bit to finally trust Jey Uso. They finally became buds at the end of that. Kevin Owens went off to SmackDown. But like Drew McIntyre is like, nah, man, like I don't want to be friends with you. Like we're not cool. Like there's nothing cool about what you used to do. He never apologized to him. Jey Uso never came out and said, hey man, listen, I know things went down. I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. That never happened. So now Drew McIntyre is mad because everyone's like, oh man, give this guy another chance. And Drew McIntyre is like, why? Why should I give this dude a chance? He's screwed me so many times. He screwed so many other people so many times. Like, nah, man, I'm not just going to turn a new leaf and, hey, let's be best friends.
Yeah.
So I think that coupled with Seth Rollins pretty much talking shit to Drew McIntyre, telling him he's not good enough and all this other stuff. And, he got pissed. So I think Drew McIntyre has a gripe. He attacked Jey Uso, costing him, I can't remember what that match was for anyway. It was a tag team titles. That's right. It was Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso.
Yeah. Yep.
Against Finn Balor and Damian Priest. So he attacked Jey Uso, and in that regard, Cody and Jey Uso didn't win, but he sided with the Judgment Day because Rhea Ripley said, "Hey man, if you help us with this, you could be a part of our War Games team, and you could have Jey Uso in a cage. What do you think about that?" So that's why he agreed to that.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't join the Judgment Day. He was never part of Judgment Day.
Yep.
So I saw some people saying that they don't understand like why he wasn't part of Judgment Day. He never said he was going to be a part of Judgment Day. He just said he was going to be on their team. And I mean, and you saw the weeks leading up to War Games, like they weren't on the same page. They were just like, he was literally just like, man, I'm on your team because I want one guy.
Yep.
That was it.
So.
So they lost, and he did his backstage interview, and he's like, man, like I just wanted to get my hands on this guy, but my teammates lost. Whatever. I'm done with them. So we saw him on Monday, being respectful to Seth Rollins, and was like, hey man, you know what? You were right. The last time I wrestled you, like you beat me, and I've got nobody to blame but myself. But thanks, man. Thank you for making me realize that. How about you let me get another shot at that? Let's do this again. And Seth Rollins is like, well, I think there's people that are in front of you.
Yeah. And that person is Jey Uso.
and the thing is like he just beat Jey Uso one-on-one like 2 weeks previously. So how is Jey Uso in front of him? So Drew McIntyre is taking it that Seth Rollins went and was like, hey man, this is my boy. Hook him up with a title shot, let's get him in the mix. So that's how Drew McIntyre took it. That's why he snapped. He's like, man, this is fucking bullshit. So I know a lot of people are like, oh, I can't believe he did that. I like it, man. I like where they're going with it because it's got some depth.
Yeah, I like what they're doing with Drew McIntyre. But you know what I've been thinking over the past few weeks? Just a little thought in back of my head. I wonder if they're gonna pull the rug out from underneath us with Jey Uso, where, yeah, he's a big baby face. He's teaming with all the other baby faces on the like tag teams and all these other matches, and he's cool now, right? What if, like, I don't know, at the Rumble or something, he reveals that he was just up to something. Like he goes back with the bloodline. He's an asshole again, and like he betrays, I don't know, Seth Rollins or even Cody. Cody, I think, would be a bit. What if he's the reason in the Rumble that Cody loses or something or gets eliminated, and then it turns out like he's been with the bloodline the whole time and it was just a plan for to keep Cody from getting the challenge Roman at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely something that could happen. I think they could go that route, but I think they're gonna set up Jey Uso versus Jimmy Uso at
Mm-hmm.
WrestleMania.
Yeah, I
So I
thought
think
so too.
probably here in the next week, the next few weeks, you're probably gonna see something kind of happen that's gonna start leading up to probably the Royal Rumble is where I think it's gonna happen, and either Jimmy is gonna eliminate Jey, or Jey is gonna eliminate Jimmy, or I think what I think is probably going to end up happening is Jey is going to eliminate Jimmy. Jimmy's going to get pissed, jump back in the ring, and then go ahead and eliminate Jey Uso, because
Mm-hmm.
they've done that before where somebody gets eliminated and they get pissed, they run back in the ring and they end up eliminating that person and they still
Yep.
count that. So I think at that point that's going to happen, and they're going to set up the match between Jimmy and Jey at WrestleMania.
I feel like Jimmy has he's got to have something big that he does in the next couple months. Like right now, he's kind of just like on the outskirts of the bloodline. You could tell like Solo and Roman and Paul Heyman, like, yeah, he's there, but like he's the oddball in the group and all that. I hope they don't try to make him a babyface too with his brother for whatever reason. I want to see him do something so massive and so messed up that like he's like fully accepted into the bloodline. Do I like? Do you agree with that? He's kind of on the outskirts of the bloodline, and he's not really in or out or whatever. Like he thinks he's
Yeah,
in, but he's not really in.
yeah. So the way I'm kind of reading Jimmy Uso is like he's trying to like undermine, he's trying to get like that tribal chief status by
Mm-hmm.
like, because he knows Roman Reigns isn't there the whole time, so he's trying to like undermine Roman Reigns just like a little bit to try to be seen as like that tribal chief when Roman Reigns is not there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I don't think Jimmy Uso is fully like in the bloodline. I think he's kind of like a tweener right now.
Yeah.
But me personally, I think I'll be ready to see like the bloodline gone come WrestleMania, because it's for me it's starting to get a little played out.
Mm-hmm.
It's starting to get a little like, okay, like we get it. Roman's not around the whole time. Like we barely see him, and it's just every time he wrestles, they got to jump in there, and it's always the same thing. And it was cool. It was, but now it's, to me, it's kind of wearing a little bit thin.
Yep.
So I would like to see like the whole bloodline kind of collapse, and then that just be that. And Solo goes off on his own. Jimmy and Jey somehow reconcile and become a tag team again, and we see Roman Reigns like once in a while. I think he could give up the belt and still be considered a big attraction.
Mm-hmm. So, do you think it would make sense to have Cody take the belt at WrestleMania 40 and then do like a Roman versus Rock match at another pay per view over the summers, like SummerSlam maybe, and maybe have Rock challenge Roman for control of the bloodline, or just try to put him out of his misery, I guess. The Rock put Roman out of his misery, I guess, or something to that effect.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. What I want to see is I want him to get that belt off of Roman Reigns, because it's just at this point now, it's just getting silly because they're like, oh, he's reigning for so long, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
But he's not defending that
Yep.
belt at least like the way he should be. But on the other side of that coin, you look at MMA, you look at boxing. These boxing champions aren't defending their title at every event. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So
Yeah.
there's a good possibility in UFC you might get lucky and see one of those champions compete 3 times a year. Um, you know, that's and that's just depending if they're healthy, all that other stuff. So I kind of look at the Roman Reigns situation similar to that, but I don't necessarily like it because it's not MMA or boxing.
Yes. Yep.
Like pro wrestling, it's its own thing. So
Yeah. MMA and boxing are actual fights. You're taking like, and I'm not saying wrestling you don't take damage. Of course you're taking damage. All those bumps are real and all that. But like you're taking actual punches and kicks to the face in MMA and boxing. So that has a real element to it. That is a real fight. Um, that's why I think we're okay when you go a year without seeing the champion fight somebody, and then he's going to fight this guy, and they start building up a couple months out, and it's huge because it's an actual fight. It's not a worked gimmick thing.
yeah, and I kind of feel the same way with Seth Rollins and his World Heavyweight Championship because I feel like he should be defending that title like every single chance he gets. So like every Monday, every pay-per-view, that kind of thing. Let that be like that workhorse championship, which he said it was gonna be. But he rarely defends the title. Like the last title defense he did was against Shinsuke Nakamura at that pay-per-view. Oh no, sorry, it was Drew McIntyre.
He defended it. Did Drew McIntyre was on like Raw or something, right?
That was I think that was at one of
Crown
the
Jewel?
pay-per-views. Crown Jewel. Yep, Crown Jewel is
Okay.
what it was. Because yeah, that's the one I ended up missing.
Because he defends it at live shows and everything too that aren't necessarily televised.
So I don't know if he defends the title at like the live shows. I think he wrestles the live shows. I just don't think it's like I don't think they're title matches.
Okay.
Yeah. So like this Monday coming up, he's gonna defend the title against Jey Uso.
Well,
And I mean like he has defended the title, I guess, more so in the past couple of months than he had been. Because I remember he did Shinsuke Nakamura twice, Sami Zayn, then Drew McIntyre. Now he's gonna be with Jey Uso.
yeah. With all the CM Punk talk up front, we kind of glossed over the other major return at Survivor Series. Randy Orton's back after 18 months and like double fusion back surgery or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a pretty dope return too. It gets overshadowed by Punk, obviously, but it was sick seeing him back in the ring.
Yeah, I'm a big Randy Orton fan. I'm glad to see him back and healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I know for everybody, his return is getting overshadowed by CM Punk. Not me. I'm on board with Randy Orton. Randy Orton's return more so than I was CM Punk. Like I said, CM Punk was like that shock value, but I have more appreciation for Randy Orton returning than I do for CM Punk.
Oh yeah. Where do you think he falls in to the whole championship picture now? I don't think he's one of those, he doesn't really need a title because he's just so big and he's just freshly back with the company, so everybody's still hyped up on him. But at some point you got to think he's going to challenge for something, right?
Yeah, at some point. I don't know where he fits in right now. That's like the main thing. So they have a lot of big stars right now. So they have right now they've got John Cena's gone. So they got Cody Rhodes, they got Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre. I'm gonna go ahead and say Damian Priest. I'm gonna throw Damian Priest in there too.
Dude, he's got to cash in that Money in the Bank at some point.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like when is that gonna happen? And then is he gonna win? Like, is he gonna win the title? Like, so much stuff, man.
Yeah.
LA Knight,
Oof.
Carlito, Rey Mysterio. They're
I wanna
starting
see-
to like
Go
they're
ahead.
really starting to build up the big guys, man. So Ivar, Bronson
Yeah.
Reed, they had that was a freaking badass match they had on Monday. Those guys are starting to come up. Gunther, like man, they have
Dude, yeah.
a lot of they got a lot of huge stars, man. That they could pretty much just plug any one of those in any situation.
This is starting to feel like late 90s, not necessarily attitude era because it's a lot more clean than it was back then. Like there's not as much like sexual content, I guess. There's not as much cursing as there was and beer drinking and all that. But as far as talent goes and the quality of material they're putting out, it feels like it's like late 90s again.
Yeah, no, for sure. I kind of feel like everyone has their own story, right? Everybody kind of has like their own thing that they have going on. Whereas before, there was only like a handful of people that were like doing stuff, and we kept
Yeah.
seeing like the same rematches like time and time and time again. Um, you know, Vince McMahon era, it was common to see a pay per view happen. So right, like honestly, like they would have done if Vince McMahon was still booking. I think we would have saw a rematch from a Survivor Series with the Miz and Gunther on Monday. They would have just had that rematch again.
Yeah.
Probably the same outcome, and then not the following week, but maybe the week after that, you see yet another match with the same outcome. And it was always like that. It just became so formulaic. But now you have so many people like doing stuff. DIY. We saw them in that tag team turmoil match,
Yeah.
and they did fairly well. The Creed brothers, they won it. They got a title shot. Creed brothers are new on the scene.
Yeah. They're looking like beasts too. Um, I I hope LA Knight is the one that dethrones Gunther.
Yeah,
I would like to see like Logan Paul's a US champ, but I feel like it would mean so much more for LA Knight to go and take the IC championship from Gunther at like WrestleMania or something. Um, but it's got to make sense because Gunther on Raw and uh, LA Knight on SmackDown. I don't know how that's going to work, but I would
yeah.
rather see LA Knight beat Gunther, and then I don't know who should beat Logan Paul for that U.S. Championship because if Logan Paul, I think he's a great talent. Like he's for such a short period of time in the WWE, he's been doing great. But if he's not going to be on TV every week with that belt, defending it every week, then he needs to lose that belt.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think the U.S. title just doesn't have like that prestige, like that elegance that the Intercontinental title has. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So like right now, I kind of feel like the U.S. title is just kind of a throwaway belt. So for me, if he's not on TV that much without that U.S. title, I don't think that's going to really make that big of a difference. If they want to make it relevant again, they what I think is going to end up happening is they're going to do Logan Paul versus LA Knight at WrestleMania with
mm,
LA Knight beating him for that US title. And I think with LA Knight holding the US title, I think he has enough talent that he could make that title be recognized just as much as the Intercontinental title. Because
that's true.
right now, like the Intercontinental title, nobody gave a shit about. Like that was another throwaway title. It was just getting tossed around, hot potatoed. But now Gunther's had it for the longest time ever, and I I honestly don't see anybody beating Gunther for that belt. I just can't. Like right now, it's just Gunther is just firing on all cylinders.
If anybody, I would love to. I know I said LA Knight before, um, but Chad Gable, they put on a banger of a
Yeah,
match a few months ago. I would love to see Chad Gable come back and take out Gunther because they still have that thing going on of where Gunther was talking trash that he made his daughter cry, Chad Gable's daughter cry.
yeah. And I'm surprised they didn't capitalize on that more. I thought they were going to do a little bit more, but it kind of seems like they put a little bit of water on that fire.
Yeah.
Unless they're gonna reignite it here coming up at the Royal Rumble,
Yep.
leading into WrestleMania or something.
Yeah. I think that's something that's got to come back. Man.
And then on the women's side,
Dude,
Rhea Ripley.
I was just thinking the same thing. Women's side, Rhea Ripley's a badass, man, and they got a lot of
Yeah,
stuff going on too with Charlotte, Becky, Bianca Belair, and then Damage Control. I'm really liking what they're doing with Damage Control and Bailey.
yeah. So I think the writing's on the wall. I think they're going to turn on Damage Control's going to turn on Bailey probably Friday.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably going to set something up there. So I could see Bailey wrestling Io Sky for that SmackDown Women's title, or I think that's just like the women's heavyweight title, or like whatever it is, whatever they're calling it now.
Yeah.
I could see Bailey beating her for that and have Bailey have a title run, because Bailey hasn't had a title run in, it's been a minute, man.
Yeah.
It's been quite some time. So I could see her having a title run and, them feuding up a little bit. And then, I don't think we see Charlotte hold that belt for a while.
Yeah, I do not
I'm
want to
trying.
see Charlotte hold that thing again. She's had it like too long, in my opinion. I mean, she's
Yeah.
good talent, but just give somebody else a shot.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who else is on that SmackDown roster too that could potentially. Yeah, like right now, like I the only person I could see getting that title is Bailey.
Yeah.
So maybe that happens at the Rumble. Maybe that happens at WrestleMania. I don't know.
I think that's got to be a slow build to WrestleMania. Like, because I feel like Io Sky, like I'm a big fan of Io Sky. I like Io Sky, and I feel like she's also in that babyface category where, yeah, she's part of a heel group, but the crowd seems to love her every week. I loved her. I love
Yeah,
her in that in the War Games match where she put the trash can over her head and jumped off the cage. I thought that was awesome.
yeah, that was wild.
Yeah. But I feel like in order for them to get Bailey versus Io's got to do like make large leaps into the heel territory and just be an asshole pretty much. And then Bailey, obviously getting jumped out of Damage Control, she'll probably turn babyface rather quick, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. That whole thing that they did at Survivor Series with her pretty much just like she took that bullet for Kairi Sane, I think it was. She was about to get speared.
Mm-hmm.
She jumped in front of that, took the pin. Like she got a lot of damage done to herself in that match, and I think that was pretty much them setting that up to, once she gets turned on, you have like that sympathy because you're like, man, she was in there and she was fighting, but she was getting her ass beat.
Yeah.
And then when they turn on her, you're gonna have that sympathy, and then when she comes out, everybody's gonna go ape shit for her.
I can't wait till Friday now. So much good stuff going on, man. But that's an hour, old school.
Yeah, man,
I think
that went quick.
that WWE mega show, man. Whew. But yeah, okay, we're taking a week off next week. Another one. There's just not a lot going on in gaming really that we really care about. WWE is great and we love following it, but I don't think we could do a whole nother hour off just this Friday and then next Monday's Raw. But we're going to take a week off. Next Thursday is the Game Awards. We're going to watch, and then we're going to come back the following week with our reactions to it. Hopefully, we see some good trailers. I know GTA 6 is supposed to, Rockstar is supposed to drop a trailer for that in the next, like, they said early December. I don't think they really gave a date, but hopefully the first week of December we see something there. And then yeah, maybe we'll talk more about this WWE stuff and see what's going on then. And as far as YouTube, like, comment, subscribe down below. If you're on Apple, Google, I always have trouble remembering what the heck I got this thing on. Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. If you're on there, make sure you follow, rate us, all that good stuff. Come over on YouTube to see the video. We can see my lovely face. And yeah, I appreciate everybody listening, and we'll see you guys in a couple weeks. And see ya.